In 399 BC, the city-state of Athens executed its most prominent thinker. After defending his teachings, Socrates was found guilty of corrupting the youth and forced to drink poison while his students watched. Among those grieving students was a 29-year-old man named Plato. Watching the state murder his mentor shaped his entire philosophical focus. To Plato, this execution highlighted a fatal flaw in human governance. Athens had killed its greatest mind because the people in power relied on shifting, subjective opinions rather than objective truths. Plato observed that everything in the natural world, the world of the senses, is highly unstable. Living things bloom, grow, and inevitably fall to decomposition. If physical matter is in a constant state of flux, then the things we see, touch, and hear are temporary. Because they are always changing, our physical senses cannot provide us with stable facts. This creates a serious problem. If our sensory observations only show us decaying, temporary phenomena, humanity has to find a completely different source to discover an enduring reality. Earlier philosophers, like Democritus, had logically deduced that nature is made of tiny, indivisible particles called atoms. But they couldn't explain how these random particles, drifting over hundreds of years, knew how to successfully recombine into specific creatures. Plato asked a deceptively simple question: why do randomized atoms never accidentally construct a horse with wings or a dog with a cow's head? Think of it like a box of Lego pieces. We can snap them together to build a horse, tear them apart, and put them back. But if we shake the box aimlessly, those pieces will never accidentally snap together to form a new horse. We can only build the horse because we already hold a fixed mental template of what a horse looks like. Plato argued that a stable, original pattern, or form, must exist before the physical object. Imagine passing a bakery and seeing dozens of gingerbread men in the window. None of them are perfectly identical. A few lack a leg or have misshapen heads, yet you recognize them immediately because every single flawed cookie was pressed from the exact same perfect mold. Plato concluded that beyond the decaying physical objects we see, there is an invisible mental realm called the world of forms. It contains the eternal, unchangeable blueprints for every natural phenomenon. So how do humans actually access this invisible blueprint? The answer lies in the difference between our physical senses and our intellectual reason. The senses are relative. If you ask a room full of people to identify the most beautiful color in a rainbow, you will get a room full of conflicting answers based entirely on personal feeling. But if you ask that same room, what is 2 times 2? Everyone will answer 4 in unison. That is reason responding. Mathematical propositions are fixed, providing absolute certainty that every rational mind agrees on. Look at this transition. You will never find a perfect circle physically existing in a forest. You might find a round pine cone, but its edges will be bumpy and flawed. Yet from this flawed shape, our minds can extract and calculate a flawless mental circle with exactly 360 degrees. To Plato, reason and mathematical logic are independent of physical experience. They are the only reliable tools we possess to pierce through the illusions of the senses and grasp the absolute truth of the forms. To illustrate how most of humanity remains blind to this truth, Plato told an allegory. He described a group of people chained in a cave since birth. Their heads are fixed forward, staring at a blank stone wall. Behind them burns a fire, and objects pass in front of it, casting dark shapes onto the wall. Having never seen anything else, the prisoners watch these flat silhouettes and believe they are the entirety of reality. One day, a prisoner breaks free. He crawls past the fire, climbs out of the cavern, and steps outside. As his eyes adjust to the blinding light, he sees vivid colors, distinct shapes, and the true sun. He finally sees the world of forms. Overjoyed, he returns to the cave to tell the others that they have spent their lives staring at faint, pathetic reflections. But the cave dwellers reject him. They point to the wall, insisting their shadows are all that exists, and to silence him, they put him to death. The murdered prisoner was Socrates. The allegory demonstrates that a society trapped in sensory illusions will actively destroy anyone who tries to pull them toward the truth. To prevent these errors, Plato outlined a framework in his book, The Republic. He argued that to stop the ignorant cave dwellers from making blind decisions, society must be guided by the pure reason of philosopher kings. And because effective governance relies on mental wisdom rather than physical strength, Plato stated that educated women possess the exact same capacity to rule as men. A society failing to educate women, he noted, was like a body only strengthening its right hand. Plato put this rationalism into practice. In a grove near Athens, he established a school dedicated to full-time education, naming it the Academy. For 2,000 years, the theories developed there have shaped human thought. The Academy became a vibrant venue for passionate debates, relying entirely on the rigorous exchange of ideas. Plato's own star pupil, Aristotle, became the first person to systematically challenge this flawless theory of forms from within the Academy itself. Thanks for staying until the end. It truly means a lot. If this video spoke to you, like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss what's ahead. This is a space for philosophy, psychology, and science to expand the way you see life. Until next time, may wisdom walk beside you.